Yo YouTube! This is a little video to get you caught up with how things have gone in the last week, and I want to start off by summarising the week ending Friday the 23rd of February. And the reason why I hadn't done these stats previously is that my last video was on the Thursday, and on that video I said that on the Friday I was going to get my van repaired, and depending on how well that went I would do some work on Friday if I could. As it turned out, I didn't have time to do I didn't have time or motivation to do work on Friday, so for Thursday ended up being my last day of that week. So let me tell you my stats for that week as a summary to finish that week off. So over 4 working days I drove 1,506 miles, 1506, and I worked for 48 and a quarter hours. My gross earnings before any expenses were taken off was £950, 950. I spent £231.62 on fuel, and that meant that after the fuel was taken off I earned £718.718. The amount of money I earned per mile that I drove was 47.7 pence per mile, and my average earned each day after expenses was £180. And finally, a figure that I don't really care about but some people do want to have, my hourly rate that I earned after visiting expenses taken off or accounted for was £8.26 per hour, £8.26 per hour that week. Now, the repair on my van, I didn't tell you about it. If I'm absolutely honest, I don't like telling you about my van problems when they're actually happening, because I tend to be somebody, because I'm not very mechanical and I don't really care about my van, it's just a tool that I just use it till it stops working. And I know it's not necessarily great for its longevity, but it works for me and my personality. I've got enough to worry about than my van. So when it goes wrong, I book it in for the garage to sort it out, and then I carry on using it if I think it's safe until I get to the garage. And I noticed about 2 weeks ago that my coolant fluid had run empty in the reservoir when I did my check. So I filled it up, and then about a week later when I checked it again, it was empty again. So I realised at that point, oh, there's a problem here. So, but there was no discernible difference in the driving. So that's why I just carried on driving, didn't tell you about it. I booked it in, and on Friday I took my van to be repaired, and he had to look under the mechanic had to look under the bottom of the van, check the pipe running from the reservoir to the radiator, and he found a little leak where the pipe went into the radiator. So that just required a pipe to be bought and changed, and it was sorted. So I checked my reservoir last week. I wasn't working, but I checked last week, and it was full still. So that has dealt with that problem. It cost me £143 including labour. £73 was labour, and the rest of it was sort of VAT and cost of materials and a bit of bits and pieces. So considering I couldn't really carry on driving like that, that's a cheap repair. I think it's cheap repair. And I spoke to somebody about it, and they said it could have been far more serious, but it wasn't. So there you go. It wasn't. Don't worry about it. So on Friday I got that van repaired, and it was back on the road. And I was all up for working last week, and then come I think it was Sunday or Monday, I can't remember which day it was. I was sitting at my desk and I was trying to catch up on some admin. And when I say admin, I'm talking about emails, and I'm talking about reconciling accounts and sorting out paperwork that I've collected and chasing invoices for this business and other stuff that's personal work stuff and other business type related activities that have nothing to do with career work. And I remember, this is one of those memories I have that will stick with me for a long time. I was sitting at my desk and I was trying to get started and I just couldn't. And I remember this moment where I sat there and I couldn't think any thoughts. And I'm going to try and describe to you what it felt like with a visual metaphor, because I am a visual person, and in my mind I have a very clear image to share with you that is what it felt like. When I say felt, it's not like it was feeling, but it was what it thought like is what I'm going to really say it was like. So, if you're of a certain age, you may be aware of the Warner Brothers cartoons, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and Roadrunner, Tom and Jerry, those sort of things. And and Tom and Jerry, not Tom and Jerry, I mean Top Cat. Top Cat's the one I used to like. Anyway, that's off the topic. That's my mind going off on one. Right. In those cartoons, when you have two characters fighting or a bunch of people fighting, because the people who draw the cartoons, what they're called, because it's I can't even think of the word. My mind is maybe so bad. They begins with A. What's it? What's the word begins with A? You're all shouting it now, aren't you? Animators, yes, the animators, because they don't want to draw every single. It's too difficult to draw a fight as a cartoon. They kind of have a cloud of dust and lines and a whirl, and that demonstrates like a fight going on. Right, that is how my mind felt, in inverted commas, a cloud of dust, fog and dust, and nothing came out of it. No rational thought could come out of my mind at that point, and I was just pretty much paralysed thought-wise. I couldn't do anything. I sat there thinking, I've got to get stuff done, I've got to get all this done. I didn't know where to start, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't even think about what to do. And I very rarely get to that point where I'm so paralysed with so many thoughts going on at once that I can't deal with them. And I just thought, I can't do this. I can't keep on doing this and whatever I'm trying to do, working and doing all this stuff. So I decided then I'd have the day off and I would just get my admin done and just focus on that. But that wasn't enough. I thought about having a day off. I thought, a day's not going to be enough. I need more time. So I said to myself, I allowed myself a week to get my affairs in order admin-wise. And I wasn't necessarily going to use a whole week. I just wanted to give myself that breathing space that I had a week available if I needed to. And then I went downstairs and spoke to my partner about it, and then I kind of it dissipated. I was able to then focus on starting my work. So that's why I didn't start working on Monday. And it was quite a significant event in my life, because I very rarely feel that overwhelmed by it, by the thoughts, by the number of thoughts going through my head. I can usually distinguish the thoughts and sort of keep a track of them to some extent, but this was just like they all got so fast and so many that was just a blur of thoughts. It was quite worrying, really. Anyway, that's why I didn't work last week, because I ended up doing admin for most of the week. But the second part of that I want to acknowledge to myself as much as anything else, I've already acknowledged to myself in the week, and now I'm saying it publicly because I think it's open and honest. I didn't get everything done in that week. I did a lot of stuff that was useful and got myself caught up a lot of the way, but I didn't get everything done, and I realised that I am nowhere near as productive as I used to be, and I do think it's a factor to do with my age. I do think it's part of the ageing process, and I'm not saying that everyone of my age would be similarly affected, but I think for me, over the last year, I definitely feel older than I've ever felt before. Usually when I've got older, I've just got a bit more experience, a bit more knowledge, but I don't feel like my faculties have got any worse. But 52 and a half, coming on 53, I definitely feel age is creeping up on me rapidly, and my abilities are declining. So it's just, I'm not going to worry about it. It's just what it's like. It's just how it is. I feel that we all at some point would come across a time in our lives where age becomes a factor in terms of our abilities. If it's not, then it's unfortunate because you've not lived long enough. The only alternative to that is that you don't live to an old age, which is not a good alternative. I do feel there are signs, because of my memory, of future dementia. I have worked in care. I do know about dementia, and I have to be kind of realistic and say that I probably am starting to have signs of that, and that is concerning, because I know what it's like. It won't be me that suffers, it'll be people around me that suffer. So I do need to think carefully about like power of attorneys, and what my decisions about my health when I get to that point where I can't make decisions for myself. I don't feel that I want to be a burden on society. I don't feel I want to be living a life just because I'm breathing and not. I want to be active if I'm living a life. And I suppose this is taking a bit of a dark turn, hasn't it, this video? But I suppose I do need to start thinking about what's going to happen when I do, if and when I do get something like dementia. I don't feel I want to have a life where that's just all I have. But it's a question of knowing when is the time to stop, isn't it? And the time to stop is when it's too late, because you then can't control. So I do need to bear that in mind. I'm a long way, I think, from that happening. I've got other things that are much more pressing concerns at the moment. But in terms of a legacy that I'm leaving on the world, this is what I'm thinking about at the moment, and this is what I want to leave in terms of my thought process. And I think it's important that we do think about our futures and be realistic about what's going to happen and not put our heads in the sand. And I think that I am mindful, at least, that dementia is a possibility, and I am keeping an eye out for that, and sort of bearing in mind that I need to plan stuff to help people around me if that is the situation that happens to me. Right, that was not planned, but I'll stop there. Anyway, let me bring this video to a close, because I've got you up to date now for the last week and the stats for the week before. Thank you for listening. I hope you're all well. I'm now going to have to call this video something about dementia, aren't I? Which is wasn't what I planned from when I started it, but that's the rich tapestry of our lives, isn't it? Who knows where we lead ourselves? Fare thee well, my friends. I'll see you in a moment when I do my other video for yesterday.